When we're talking about implementing marketing, my type of marketing, by the way, not just postcards and whatever. I mean, when my kind of marketing, as those of you who know, who have the toolkit, and I know not everybody here has it, but if you have the toolkit, you know it's about maximizing growth, it's about maximizing revenue, maximizing profits, it's about living the business and your life on your terms. It's a far more strategic view, but it is about growing in revenue, growing in profits, growing in staff. And the question that kept coming up in my mind is some of you might say, well, why should I grow? Why should I even try marketing? Because if I don't, you don't put a marketing plan in place if you don't want to grow. And so a lot of people give lip service. I want to grow, but they don't do growth. They talk growth, they think growth, they want growth, they don't do growth, right? So I wanted to start out by addressing this and saying, why do you want to grow your business? And there are reasons why you want to do it. For one is when you grow, you can get better quality clients through selection and through Ascension. Okay, so when every business owner starts out, myself included, if you could fog a mirror and write a check, I would take your business because I had rent to pay, I needed food, right? You'll just take anything. And you'll do it for cheap because you're desperate and you don't have a unique selling proposition and you really don't know how to sell and you really don't know how to market. So the only way you get customers is you do it cheap, right? And you take anything. Well, at some point, and maybe not at some point, but continually in your business, you need to be constantly looking at your customer base and what you're selling and trading it up. So yeah, I mean, in the first year, if it's like, well, I'll take whoever can fog a mirror and write a check, that might work okay in the first year of business. But that is not going to work in the 10th year. That is not going to work in the 20th year. You've got to be more selective. And just to kind of remind you, I've been doing what I'm doing for over 25 years. I've been working in this industry exclusively, specifically with MSPs, VARs, IT services companies for close to 20 years. I have talked to, mentored, sold to, consulted with over 10,000 MSPs. Now, I've talked to way more than that. But I'm talking about like that have been customers, that sat in a seminar, that bought a product. And a lot of them I get to know very up close in their business, like what's really going on, how much money are they making and stuff. And a big problem one of the reasons that a lot of them don't grow is they continue to do business the way they did business 10 years ago, at the same price point, with the same kind of customers. And the ones who grow, almost every single one of them. Now, I would venture to say every single one of them, at least every single one of that I've talked to, okay? Let me qualify it that way. The ones that I've talked to who have gone from $1 million in revenue to $10 million in revenue or $30 million in revenue, the ones that I know have done that, one of the strategies they do is they upgrade their clients. So it's not just, hey, let's get more of these same customers. There's two things. Let's get better quality customers. And then two, let's develop the customer we have so that asset is worth more to us. Those are the two things. So marketing is not just about getting more leads, more customers. You want to be more strategic than that. So part of growth is when you're growing and you've got deal flow coming in from your marketing that you can trust, that you know that next week there's going to be leads that come in, there's going to be sales that are going to happen, you've got recurring revenue. It stiffens your spine so that you won't tolerate the cheap, whiny, unproductive customer or prospect who wants to take your contract and say, well, can we take this out? Can we take that out? Or that, pushes back on every recommendation you have. When you set your business up so that you, from the very first square on the game board, you are in a very strong position, you do not need to tolerate that anymore. And because you don't tolerate it, you actually get it and you get it easier. What you'll find is actually you get better quality customers, you get them easier, you get less price resistance, and it's not because the customers changed, it's mostly because you changed, right? And so when we think about growing, when we're talking about today, I don't want you to think, oh my God, I can't take another 10, 20 more customers like the ones I have, because that's not the correct way to think. The correct way to think is, how do I get more better quality customers at a better profit margin, at a better price point, develop the customers I have so my business is more sustainable, it's more profitable. It allows me to reinvest in people and systems and tools so that we can continue to grow this thing. So you get better quality clients as you grow your business, as you become more confident in your marketing, as you become more confident as an entrepreneur in your operations and you mature. That's one of the advantages, is you get this ascension model. I mean, even I see it with our Producers Club members and to a great extent, our Accelerators members. We've set it up like you cannot just join Producers Club. You have to be, and you have to own the toolkit first and foremost. Then you have to go through Accelerators. And you are invited to Producers Club. You don't just get to sign up. You have to be invited by one of your coaches. And that was done very intentionally, because in the beginning, you could fog a mirror and you could write a check for the toolkit. God bless, I'll take you. That is not how I want to operate today. Because my Producers Club members are the ones that are closest to me, the ones that I engage with, the ones that I talk to on a regular basis. And I want people who are entrepreneurial in their mindset. I want people who are driven, who have honest ambition, not just this lip service stuff, right? They want to do it, but then they got 20 excuses why they can't. Like, that's not that they're bad people, but like, I enjoy working with people who are market driven, who want to grow, who are ambitious, who will test things and come back and say, well, Robin, I tested this, and I tested this, and I tested this, and this thing worked okay, this thing completely flopped, but this thing has promise, and we're going to keep, that's the kind of people who are implementing, because you can't steer a parked car. Those people are interesting for me to work with. Right? That have proper expectations, that don't think, well, I send out one email one time and I should retire on my yacht. Like they actually have a little bit of realistic expectation. That's the kind of people like Scott. That's the kind of people I want to work with. Scott's not a $100 million a year MSP, but it's not about that. It's about his mindset. And at some point, as you mature in your business, you want to set it up so that you are getting better quality customers, and you're developing those customers, and you're doing most of your business with the ones who appreciate you, that partner with you, that don't scream at you for every little mistake. You know what I'm talking about, right? The ones who actually take your advice and work with you and are proactive and want to meet with you on quarterly business reviews, and they want your advice and they involve you in their decisions, right? Isn't that the best customers for all of you? Yeah, think about that. But you don't get there unless you have a marketing system where you can ascend them, where you can filter out, right? Because you don't know until you start doing a little business with them. You can try and qualify them on the sales end, but you really don't know until you've worked with them for a year. You just don't know. The other reason you want to grow, obviously, is higher profit margins. You get economies of scale. The typical MSP is doing about $100,000 in revenue per employee, if you want just a big general rule of thumb, right? In fact, most small business owners, if you look, it's not just MSPs, it's across they're generally doing about $100,000 in revenue per employee. But when you get up into the enterprise level, if you get into where they've got 500 employees, they're the Fortune 1000 companies, they are typically generating $300,000 to $500,000 in revenue per employee. All right? See, a small business owner, because you're small, you don't have efficiencies of scale, right? You're typically outsourcing, which costs more when you outsource. I'm not against outsourcing, right? Not at all. We still outsource things, right? There's things I outsource because the person I want, I can't work with them. I can't hire them. They're not hireable, so I gotta work with them in that, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise I'd recruit them and they'd work for me. So sometimes you have to, but as a small business owner, you're outsourcing everything, which gets very expensive. And managed services in particular, when you're delivering that, the platform, the systems, the processes, that you need to support one client, the same you have 100 clients, right? You still need the same tools. So as you grow your business, you will see higher profit margins, higher economies of scale, higher revenue per employee, if you're doing it right, of course, right? But that goes without saying, all right? You'll attract and retain higher quality employees. Again, you got to remember, guys, I started my business I was living in an apartment in the spare bedroom. I'm paying for groceries on credit cards because I didn't have the cash to pay for it. I had about 6 or 7 credit cards, and I'd spend enough, go to the max on this one, and then go to the max. Anyone ever live like that, where you're maxing out credit cards? Right? And I was trying to, start my business, and so at night I taught aerobics classes, 3-4 classes. I had shin splints, like bleeding, like horrible, because that was the only income I had to get the business off the ground. And so when you're in that position, you don't tend to attract very high quality employees. First of all, you suck as a leader. I did. I didn't know how to hire people. Certainly didn't know how to manage them, right? And now I can tell you now that we are eclipsing the 20 million mark. I can tell you they come to me now. And so when people see the success of your business, other people take notice. Employees take notice. And so the last couple of really good strategic hires I made were not ones I went and recruited. They were people who came and knocked on my door and said, "Hey, I'd be interested in doing something with you. What does that look like?" And, we still recruit. We run ads 24/7, 365 for salespeople, for sales managers. And by the way, all of you need to be recruiting 24, 365. I'm always recruiting. If I'm at Target, the other day I was at Target and the checkout clerk was exceptional. Very friendly, looked me in the eye, bagged things, exceptional. I don't have a business card, so wrote down my number on a piece of paper, and I said, if you are ever looking for a job, please call me. Quentin, how many of you know Quentin? He's awesome, right? Quentin was my driver for about 3 years. He drove me everywhere, like to and from the airport and stuff like that. And I noticed that he is an exceptional, hardworking, meticulous, on-time, conscientious, and his superpower is people just love him. Like he has something about him that if you meet Quentin, you like him, right? And when I didn't know he was looking, and when he mentioned something, we'd be looking, I recruit him. So you got to be looking all the time. But when you have something that's really a successful business, people want to come work for you because they want to do exciting things with a company that's growing, that has a good reputation, right? And it's hard when you're starting. It's not impossible because I did it. Other people have done it. But as you grow, you will be able to retain and find higher quality people because as your business grows, you can also give them more opportunity. We hire appointment setters, and we've had 3 appointment setters right now that we have promoted to higher level sales positions. And that's the way you want to recruit. If you're going to have like someone who's sitting there and is successful at setting appointments, is badass. They know our systems. They've worked for me for a year. They show up on time. They follow the process. They give good feedback. When you want to get that person and give them opportunity, because I know a lot of you struggle with techs. And one of the problems you have with techs, a lot of the really good ones, they want to do cool shit, right? They get bored, right? So if you're not giving them the opportunity to take on more opportunity, learn new skills, take new challenges on, they're going to go somewhere else where they can get that. And it's same with salespeople, same with marketing people, because a lot of people come to me, they know we are good marketers. We are badass. And good marketing people come to me and say, I want to work a place where I can learn new things, where they're not like throttling me and restraining me and shutting me down and really don't like marketing and cutting my budget and constantly saying we can't do that and we won't do that and we can't invest in that. Like I want to work someplace where I'm given a budget and told, go test this, go figure this out. Here's some money, right? Go experiment and work with other marketers that are smart where you can collaborate with them. See smart entrepreneurial employees want to work for a place that's growing and doing new cool shit, right? They don't want to work with a guy who's been doing $100,000, $200,000 this year, might do a little more next year, but 5-10 years you look at the business, it's basically the same business doing the same things. Like that's not, think about what kind of employee wants to work in that environment. The mundane, rote, nothing new. What kind of employee likes that environment? Think about it, right? So if you want talented people, you gotta be growing. Protection from aggressive competitors goes without saying. As you grow your business, you have more stability. You have recurring revenue. You've got a customer base. If you're doing marketing right, you've got a customer base you can trust, which is the biggest asset in your business. So if the poop hits the fan and something goes wrong, you pull out a marketing campaign and you can sell something. See, it's very, when you're small and you don't have a big customer base, you're in a very precarious situation because you lose one customer, it could devastate your business. See, if you have like a big mutual fund of customers, you lose one, not that you ever want to lose one, but it's not going to undo your business, right? If you have something major happen, you can go to your customers with an opportunity. I remember back when 9/11 happened. And in 9/11, a lot of companies, a lot of businesses that were in the seminar business do what I don't really think we're in the seminar business, although we are, right? A lot of colleagues I know that are marketers that put on events, and that is the core of their business, went out of business. They went bankrupt overnight because instantly, overnight, everybody canceled their flights, everybody canceled going to an event, and it literally put a bunch of people out of business like in like a week, overnight, out of business. And I remember there was an interview with with Disney, and I don't know if it was the CEO of Disney, but there was an interview that was done, and the question was posed to Disney. How is 9/11 impacting sales for you? Because obviously people are traveling in to go to Disney. And the answer and the response was, we're not worried, we can trust our customers. And I thought, that's a brilliant marketing lesson right there. Because when you have a big enough loyal, raving fan client base that you can trust them, that revenues, then you are in a very safe haven, secure position. And so you want to work. That's why marketing is not just about getting customers, it's about developing them. It's about developing that relationship. Frees the owner from doing it all. Obviously, as you grow, you're constantly in a position of replacing yourself and replacing yourself and replacing yourself, right? Now, some things are easy to replace, admin work, not too hard to replace. You know, running the service department, going to be a little bit harder to replace. Right? When I started doing the marketing, you know, when I found Mike, who's going to talk to you tomorrow, I could replace me, right? Because that was harder to replace, and we had to go through a couple people that just, you know, I couldn't fully trust them with the position. Now I have somebody I can, and we've just hired another one who I can, Will, who's, you know, so we are now building this team that you constantly are trying to replace yourself.